We are the flow, we are the earth, we are the weaver.
Good morning, everyone. This is CricketSong with Lunar Wisdom, and I am here today to answer a question that I've gotten from a couple of subscribers in an email. And the question is, do you have to practice magic to be a Wiccan? Okay. If you would have asked me this question 3 years ago, my answer would probably be different than what my answer is today. So let me go through a couple of things before I come to the conclusion of my answer today. There are 3 questions that I feel like need to be answered in order to answer the question. Number 1 is, what do you consider to be magic? Number 2, what is witchcraft? Number 3, what is a witch? And then finally, what is a Wiccan, or what is Wicca? Okay, so the first question is, what is magic? And I really subscribe to Aleister Crowley's definition of magic. And that is, magic is the science of understanding oneself and one's conditions. It is the science and art of applying that understanding in action, of causing change to occur in conformity with your will. So examples of using magic. When you have something in your life and you are using your will to change that, that's magic. Many people that I speak with, and I personally agree, if you're utilizing the law of attraction, you're actually doing magic because you're using your will, your emotions to make a change in your reality. That is magic. It's not necessarily doing a big old ritual and using herbs and using stones and using incantations and chants. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It can be as simple as getting up in the morning and saying, today is a great day. I feel wonderful. I'm going to have a fantastic day. And then making that happen. That's magic. So that's my definition of what magic is. Number 2, what is witchcraft? Witchcraft is the craft of the witch, the practice of magic. It's using one's will to cause this change, either by ritualistic magic or practical workings, spells, incantations, healings, etc. Generally, when you find people who use the word witch, they're actually practicing more ritualistic or spell works. Sometimes they may not. You may find someone utilizing the law of attraction and positive affirmations and using the word witch to describe themselves. But generally, at some point, I feel that someone who does use the word witch will, even if they're not doing big ritualistic spells, they probably have an herb garden in their backyard, or they use herbs in their everyday cooking. They put in intentions into the things that they're making for their family. They have some sort of understanding of the natural rhythm of the world around them, and they're utilizing that energy as well as their own will to create this change. Those are the people who will generally label themselves a witch. I have met many people who utilize the law of attraction that would not use the word witch. So my feeling is that when I meet someone who uses the word witch to describe who they are utilizing herbs and stones and the natural energies of the earth, as well as affirmations and incantations and chants, things like that, to utilize and to use magic. So what is a witch? I kind of addressed that it is a name or a label of someone who practices magic and witchcraft. It generally doesn't imply a spirituality though. So a witch doesn't necessarily have to have a spiritual path. They don't have to be anything other than a witch. They may say, I'm just spiritual, or I am not spiritual at all. I don't believe in a greater energy or a greater source or a deity whatsoever. I am just nature-based. I believe in the energies of the earth And they may not even label it Mother Earth, just the earth. There is, in my belief, a witch doesn't necessarily have to have a spirituality. Some witches do. Some witches do have an understanding of some sort of deity, but it doesn't have to be a particular deity. It could be anything. So it could be Native American views to a more monotheistic belief. They can, but witches do not necessarily have a spiritual connection. So then what is Wicca? Wicca is a religion or a spiritual path, and there is a belief in a god and a goddess. There is a belief in some sort of reincarnation or afterlife. There is a belief in magic. They have a belief that magic exists. There exists no dogmatic, moral, or ethical code followed. However, the majority of Wiccans do follow the Wiccan Rede, being harm none, do what you will. There is a belief in 5 classical elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. There is observance of sabbats, the changes of the seasons, and esbats, the phases of the moon. There are rites of passage, such as hand fasting and wickenings and rites of the dead, all different, croning sometimes. And they usually keep a book of shadows. That is, and there are other beliefs, but it is a spiritual path. And there is a belief in magic. So when I define these things for myself in that way, then someone can be Wiccan and not necessarily be a witch. People can be witches and not necessarily be Wiccan. Now let's go to the original question that I was given. Do you have to practice magic to be a Wiccan? You don't have to practice magic. You have to, my feeling is, you believe in magic. You know that there are forces and energies that connect us all and that you can utilize to create a change in your reality, whether it's within you or without you. In the beginning of my path, like I said years ago, I was a Wiccan who did not practice magic. Now, I personally believe when you're first starting out and discovering Wicca, if you are seeking it for a spiritual purpose, which is what I was doing, you shy away from the whole understanding, or not understanding, but practicing of magic. You need to know, as the Witch's Pyramid explains, you need to have the knowledge before you start applying it. And that goes for anything. I mean, if I were trying to learn carpentry, I wouldn't just pick up a hammer and a nail and start building, because I could get hurt without understanding the safety required for doing carpentry. I wouldn't take auto mechanics and just jump in and try to fix a car. You need to know how things connect. You need to understand what safety measures. You need to know the consequences of what you're doing. So in the beginning, when you're searching out Wicca and you're learning and you're studying and you're being connected with the elements, my feeling is you shouldn't just jump into practicing magic. But as you mature on your path, as you get an understanding, as you connect to God and Goddess, as you connect to each of the elements, as you get out there and you are vibrating with the energy of all that is around you, I feel it's a natural evolvement of your spiritual practice to start delving into magic and practicing magic and becoming the witch that I feel we are all within us. So the overall answer is no, you don't have to practice magic to be a Wiccan. But eventually, I feel like in order for you to evolve as a spiritual being, someday the answer will be yes. And if you never get to that point, then so be it. But I feel like you will, if you are truly devoted and you are truly a priestess of the goddess and the god. So that's my personal opinion, and understand this is only my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's right for me. It's true for me. And I love you. Have a wonderful day.